An advisor to the mayor of the port city of Mariupol said Tuesday workers removing rubble from a collapsed apartment building in the devastated Ukrainian city found about 200 corpses in the building's basement. On the social media site Telegram, Petro Andrushenko said the bodies were decomposing and the stench permeated the neighborhood. It's not clear when they were discovered, and the report could not be independently verified. Perched on the Sea of Azov, the port city of Mariupol was relentlessly pounded during the month-long siege that finally ended last week after some 2,500 Ukrainian fighters abandoned a steel plant where they made their last stand in the strategic port city. Meanwhile, Russia is using food supplies as a weapon with global repercussions, acting the same way as it does in the energy sector, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Tuesday. Speaking at the annual World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, von der Leyen said Putin's war in Ukraine is a threat to the entire world.
The playbook of Russia's aggression against Ukraine comes straight out of another century, treating millions of people not as human beings, but as faceless populations to be moved or controlled or set as a buffer between military forces, trying to trample the aspiration of an entire nation with tanks. This is not just a matter of Ukraine's survival. This is not just an issue of European security. This is putting our whole international order into question.
U.S. President Joe Biden is heading home from Asia Tuesday after urging fellow leaders to work harder towards stopping Russian aggression in Ukraine. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Magani reports.
The president says they're navigating a dark hour in our shared history.
This is more than just a European issue. It's a global issue.
In a summit with Australia, India, and Japan, the president's message seemed at least partly aimed at New Delhi, which, unlike nearly every other U.S. ally, has not sanctioned Russia or even condemned it. In a separate meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi touted U.S.-Indian relations but did not publicly mention the Ukraine war. The president did.
The U.S. and India are going to continue consulting closely on how to mitigate these negative effects.
But in a sign of India's relationship with Moscow, a post-summit statement from the four nations made no mention of Russia. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Pakistani police Tuesday detained hundreds of supporters of former Prime Minister Imran Khan a day before he is due to lead an anti-government march on the capital, Islamabad, to press his demand for fresh elections. The crackdown was unleashed shortly after midnight, with police units raiding homes of supporters of Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or PTI, party in the country's most populous Punjab province in a bid to deter them from attending Wednesday's planned protest march. The 60-year-old Khan has promised to gather tens of thousands of supporters in the city, saying they will not leave until the government announces a date for new elections. He was ousted as prime minister following a no-confidence vote last month. Officials and witnesses say a policeman was killed in the provincial capital of Lahore when they entered a home in the middle of the night and its nervous occupants opened fire on them. Dozens of PTI supporters have been arrested from areas in and around Islamabad. Member countries which govern the UN's World Health Organization are expected to confirm WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus for a second 5-year term. No other candidate challenged Tedros for the post amid the ongoing difficulties of responding to the devastating COVID-19 pandemic. A former Ethiopian government minister, Tedros has directed the WHO through its management of the global response to the COVID-19 pandemic and withstood occasional withering criticism over its multiple missteps. He is the first African to lead the agency and the only director general not qualified as a medical doctor. Center for Global Development Health Policy Director Javier Guzman is called Tedros Tuesday a steady voice throughout the pandemic, despite occasional missteps. Repeating this hour's top news story, an advisor to the mayor of the port city of Mariupol Tuesday said workers removing rubble from a collapsed building there found about 200 corpses in the building's basement.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.